way.
The season can't end like that!
I'm a kid, so I call it KFAN. Let's go Vikings!
I mean, pick your poison with that defense.
Now, what did I do wrong?
9 to noon.
Just listen.
All right now. Ba, 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 ba. Good morning. This
9 to noon
is 9 to noon. Paul Allen, mad producer by my side. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, indeed, it's time for 9 to noon to come clean and show some contrition. Yes, indeed, it is time to be better. They failed to win the Dobnak game. And that's down the line past Lee. Bobby Witt Jr.'s 3 for 3 in his return from the injured list. He drives in Isbell. Here comes Jensen. 2 on the board for the Royals. Bobby Witt Jr. takes advantage and gets to third. Instant ignition from the Royals superstar. Oh, is it good to have him back?
Woo, take a listen to this crowd.
Yeah, take a listen to that crowd. Great day for Bobby Witt Jr. to return. I mean, causing 9 to noon to unfurl the contrition, coming clean, and being better covenant. You see, the predicting game can be a fickle monster.
Why don't you give me half the money you were going to bet? Then we'll go out back, I'll kick you in the nuts, and we'll call it a day.
I was so convinced our favorite 9 would head to Kansas City and win the second Dobnak game there. There were some bold proclamations made 9 to noon, some bold proclamations. And 9 to noon indeed needs to be better. Because if even one of you headed east or south and followed said proclamation...
Why don't you give me half the money you were going to bet? Then we'll go out back, I'll kick you in the nuts, and we'll call it a day.
We feel bad. I was so convinced the favorite 9 would head down to KC and beat Dobnak a week after Dobnak went Dobnak on it. Some bold proclamations were made, and yeah, no doubt, we need to be better. The paunchy pitcher for the Kansas City Royals, who started his career with the Twins, came to Target Field last week, and my man looked like a cross between Brett Saberhagen and Al the Mad Hungarian Hrabowski.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
Twins got to be better than me.
Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
And it was terrible. Then these ratty Royals went to Denver to play the Rockies in the altitude and thin air of the Rocky Mountain region. Now they went and scored 8 runs through 3 games. Who goes to Coors Field and gets left so punch drunk they score only 8 runs through 3 games? The Kansas City Royals. That's who.
Oh, Rubes. So many Rubes. Rubes. Please, no Rubes.
The prediction was set up so perfectly. So perfectly. They'll smash the Royals second time against Dobnak and these punchless division foes. The belief was deep. It was ill-founded. We got smashed 8-2. We permitted the Kansas City Royals to score as many runs in a single game as they just mustered in 3 out Denver way.
Can you repeat the part of the stuff where you said all about the things?
Yeah, the Kansas City Royals. Sands, Freddie Patek, Amos Otis, and George Brett. They went to the altitude of Coors Field and scored 8 runs in 3 games. And then they played us and scored 8 runs in 1 game. I mean, the belief was deep, but it was ill-founded. I need to be better at predicting and prognosticating because fantasy football season is on the horizon, and that's all about just being better at predicting and prognosticating. the Minnesota Twins. This is the We Covenant with the core four of sports, the ones that people pay most attention to, like the Vikings, the Timberwolves, the Wild, and the Minnesota Twins, then Gophers football and Gophers basketball. And we lost the second Dobnak game. I mean, come on. Oh, the humanity.
Oh my God.
Honestly.
Above average at that.
Nordo was the eyes and ears of 9 to noon at Vikings training camp yesterday. It was a Camp du Nord day with his girls, Ava and Stella. What stood out to the con and the kids? And a good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, kids' first time ever at camp, and they loved it. And frankly, when we got down there and were watching specifically the defensive linemen, Ava and Stella might as well have just stepped foot on the moon because they can't believe, and their 41-year-old father can't believe, what the rookie Caleb Banks looks like up close.
Oh my gosh.
He a monster.
He's an absolute monster. It was beautiful down there yesterday, by the way, but
best day of camp.
But it was just kind of the way we've talked about things. I kind of had my checklist. So check number 95, checked that box as quickly as humanly possible. And there's someone else I'll mention in a bit that has what we might call Twitch. Caleb Banks has Twitch, and that thing has a chance. There's 6 practices to be a thing.
So now you're understanding why multiple times yesterday, between segments, not on the radio, where I looked at you and I said, I'm having to pump the brakes here.
Yeah, we got to pump the brakes. Absolutely.
I mean, 09 went with it with Percy. 15 went with it with Diggs. 2026 going with it with Caleb Banks, but I think the brakes, I just need to pump the brakes a little bit.
Yeah.
Foot's a minor concern, but it's, hey, how about when the foot is no concern, which it probably is now, that we just put the pedal to the metal and we just start telling people what we're seeing with Caleb Banks. And yes, I mean, I'll just start here. It has some defensive rookie of the year to it. Yeah, I said it. It has some defensive rookie of the year to it.
He is incredibly fast, incredibly strong.
Yeah, he is fast.
He is a force, and he has Twitch, and he is ours. So we checked that box.
Dominic Orange came back yesterday, right?
Dom was in the mix.
Yeah.
And so was the rookie runner.
Yeah.
That also has Twitch, Mr. Claiborne.
By the way, let's handle business. Yesterday was a Northern Fire Talker Tuesday. We didn't do talkbacks yesterday because we were at Twin Cities Orthopedics Performance Center.
Yeah.
So talkbacks N32. Talkbacks on vogue today. They're en vogue, en masse today. We have a prize at the end of the show, courtesy of Northern Fire. And what's that prize?
Yeah, Northern Fire Grilling and Barbecue Supply. They're going to give one of you a $25 gift card that you can use in store in Minnetonka, or you can go to northernfirebbq.com and use it. But Talker Tuesday, learning to cook from the pros, that's Northern Fire. And they love these Talker Tuesdays, which happen to be this week on a Wednesday. And we'll get to, just some talker ideas, but really camp focus on this.
Yeah.
And just getting to watch Keith Carter doing his work yesterday with the offensive line. By the way, Fargo go crazy. Not necessarily for Carson Wentz, who's just doing his work, yeoman's work at camp.
Yep.
Ben Ellefson is an offensive assistant, and getting to see him on the field, former Vikings tight end for a minute.
Right.
That was super cool. Brosmer on the field yesterday. So trying to explain, this was kind of an embarrassing moment, but it's fine. It's on me as a dad. I can't get my kids to sit down and watch full games with me. It's tough. And so Ava and Stella, they'll sit down, they'll watch 10 minutes of a football game. They love the Wild. That's actually, they're in on that for extended periods. But as we're sitting there and we got a bunch of fans around us, we're down there watching the practice, and Stella just blurts out super loudly, "Man, there's so many different ways for them to score goals, Dad."
KFAN is my favorite station.
So we got some terminology to work with, but then Ava points out to me, she's like, "What's that guy in the red shirt doing behind the play?" And it was Max Brosmer mimicking every rep that JJ and Kyler are doing on the field. So he's chilling back, limited reps. I think he knows his lot in life. He's very, very intelligent. Wants it harder and more than anybody on the field, PA. He's going to be a coach. He's going to.
We love the Vikings.
The focus yesterday, they're in shorts. There's no pads. That was kind of an L on my part. I believe they're back in pads today.
Oh, we had no pads yesterday.
No, it was shorts and shirts.
Hey.
Shorts and shells, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like in some ways, and maybe this is part of the Talkback Tuesday on a Wednesday, is it getting mildly counterproductive? And this kind of tails into what we were talking about with Ben Gesslin yesterday. So just for the very first time for all 2 hours of the practice, the ability to completely lock in on everything that the quarterbacks are doing. You know, and is this stuff that they're working on that we don't know about? Is it nuance that we're just not privy to? And so I'm just a rube focused on the results of a play or a red zone program of some sort. But it's like we talked about yesterday. It's still patience. It's still patience with this thing. JJ is, and it looks in his face, so much more evolved mechanically. So the way he gets in and out of plays, because they're mocking that entire thing. You got KO on the walkies, bringing the play in, huddle out of the huddle. We're into the play. And that's all good. But at times the kid is still indecisive. He's still late on a lot of stuff. Aired a couple of throws against nobody. And so just in a situation, in a quote-unquote competition, that still kind of feels like an unintentionally rigged game. It's a spot where you cannot afford to make some of those more simple mistakes or have a bad day. And I don't think either one of them are necessarily jumping out of their skin at this particular point. It's where JJ still clearly has a better mastery of the scheme and what they're trying to accomplish. But Kyler's got some cool to him, PA. Kyler has this, it's almost like this assertive confidence that he's showing. And again, he wasn't perfect yesterday either. Some bad throws from number one. But just kind of watching this go, I'm excited to know at some point what the nuance or the things that we aren't aware of that they're focused on, what they're specifically working on as they inch their way towards a decision. Because right now you can go through 6 practices, and I've seen a ton of social media fodder. You can't tell me either one looks necessarily worlds better than the other when you're watching these practices. And so digging into the nuance and the way that they film every aspect of this thing, and they're probably meeting with people this morning and going over some of that. That'll be probably an interesting part once they find a conclusion. But at some point, it's almost like Murray's arrow appears to be trending up. JJ just, he's got his ups and his downs, kind of line level in a situation where, again, it feels like ties go to the new guy. I didn't walk away from training camp yesterday feeling like I was any closer to the right answer, if that makes any sense.
Camp du Nord.
I'm a kid, so I call it KFAN.
Did you feel the Frank Smith effect permeating through the crowd and or the sideline, the Frank Smith effect?
Well, so while I'm sitting around pointing out, hey, there's Ben Ellefson, I still don't know. Have you seen Frank Smith? I don't know if anybody's seen Frank Smith, but you can't see that in shorts and shells, PA, in terms of getting the physical force. You can tell the way that they were splitting up the O-line groups, and they were mixing and matching. You had Brandell here with the Rouses. You had Brian O'Neill over here. There was no Darisaw yesterday, so that must be part of the chill program on a day in shorts where he just big people need a rest once in a while. But getting to see those guys up front and working so much on resistance training on the field, and then also those lateral movements with force and pads. I thought you can see what they're trying to do and that it's different. But you're still not going to feel that, right? Until you get to a game, which we have. It's like a week and change away, PA. We're going to have a preseason game. So Frank Smith effect to be TBD, I would say at this stage.
That's my Uncle Paul.
Happened to witness in person how big Justin Jefferson's arms have become.
Well, I will always leave memorizing numbers and body types to you, but he looks physically different. You can tell that he spent some time in the gym this summer, most certainly. But he's still, he's got my house. I bet you the chains that he had on yesterday might equal what is remaining on my mortgage for my house. he was pretty well glammed up. He played to the crowd,
Glammed up,
and even prior to practice, you get a bunch of kids down there so that he can dap them up before he runs out there. I mean, the experience of camp in itself is
awesome.
Is kind of a spectacle, and it's a blast. But yeah, number 18 is looking quite nice.
Keep listening to 9 to noon.
Happened to chat with Kevin O'Connell's father, Bill, about being part of an FBI team that took down John Gotti.
No, I did not see Bill. No, I was not aware of his location. Mm-hmm. I did chat with a couple of PR luminaries by the names of Bob Hagan and Thomas West. Mm-hmm. Did get to see them rolling around, as well, of course, Sam Newton doing his thing.
Spearfish Sammy. I did not see Bill O'Connell, but maybe were they running a sting? Were they running maybe because of the protect our plays movement that is taking place in the NFL? Thank you.
We had a couple of plainclothes feds that were in the stands yesterday to potentially yank anybody that wasn't following the rules.
Yes.
You're listening to 9 to noon.
Damon Claiborne practice. Did you feel and or see the twitch?
Dude, he can move, man. The cuts are beautiful. And then I feel like such an idiot saying this because again, no pads, and it's not even a feigned arm tackle in these environments. But number 2-1 can move, man, and he gets the giddy up is quick, and so it's like, do you play? Are you quick or are you fast? We hear those conversations about people that can move in short area versus guys that can just get up in the open field and go. Claiborne can flash, man. Claiborne, and that's the super cool thing. And you mentioned it, and KO, I think, has even gone out of his way to mention, hey, Jordan Mason looks different. Jordan Mason did something into year 2, whether it be by nature of the Frank Smith effect and what they're going to be asking of him to do in the run game. That's all good. But in terms of Aaron Jones, Jordan Mason, and Mr. Claiborne, Claiborne offers a pace element that the other two just can't keep up with.
We don't play the PlayStation like us.
Vikings offense.
We don't play the PlayStation like us.
Justin Jefferson's new arms.
Randy Moss!
All right, so we have a couple of segments today, at least, with talkbacks courtesy of Northern Fire, a dangling carrot to be delivered somewhere during the course of the radio/audio show, the audio/radio show. Why don't you go and lay out a couple of talkback suggestions, to which you are not limited. However, we do got a couple of suggestions, and here they are.
Yeah, I mean, let's just pump it up on a Talker Tuesday that's actually a Wednesday. Like, what has intrigued you or excited you most through 6 practices? You just listened to me sit here watching a practice in which they're in shorts and shells, and I'm pumping up things that still need to come to fruition, but the inclusion of the kids, the inclusion of number 95, this Charles Demings that is taking the entire fan base by storm, things that have excited you, maybe intrigued you. Did Briz hit a grand slam with this draft? What do you want to see, not just in the Giants game, but things that you're starting to project and you got to hold yourself back on as we get closer to games that count? And, through 6 practices for me, as I mentioned, the excitement that I have around the possibility of getting meaningful repetitions from guys that we drafted, the organic growth of this team, that I am over the freaking moon about that opportunity and that possibility in August for games that don't start until September. So that's where I've gone full Rube on. That's what excites me the most through 6 practices, is the idea of Rob Brzezinski and this staff just saying, hey, we're going to get athletes. We're going to get guys that we think can play football at a high level. And then it works. Like in August freaking 5th, I can't wait for the border battle to see maybe some of those young kids making an impact.
We're coming.
All righty now. Free iHeart app and the TalkBack machine. Next segment, TalkBacks. We'll also do it a little later, part of the TimberTech What's on Deck 9 to noon. TimberTech.com. If indeed you are looking for the deck of your dreams, go to TimberTech/TimberTech.com. They love us. We love them. They love you. So why don't you go out there and love them? As part of the TimberTech What's on Deck set list, the trained football eye of a new friend, Dane Mizutani of TwinCitiesLive.com, Pioneer Press. Dane will be here about 10:15. We, in executing two-a-days today, we get to games 3 and 4 on the Minnesota Vikings schedule at Tampa Bay and them Bucks. And then the Miami Dolphins with super special Malik Willis. He'll be in town. And to chat about that, we'll just leave it like this. We have somebody joining 9 to noon at about 10 o'clock who caught a pass in a Super Bowl. Caught a touchdown pass in a Super Bowl. Hey, heavy hitters. That's what we do. Nordo produces, and I'm Paul Allen. It's 9:20. Welcome to the Love Covenant at FM 100.3, KFAN, your cash giveaway leader.
Yeah, the fan and BigDeck.com want to give you a shot to win bonus bucks with the National Cash Contest. Enter the keyword green at KFAN.com. You might win some if you enter the keyword green at KFAN.com.
PA? Well, I'll probably go without saying, but I'm going to say it anyway. I don't like you.
This is PA on iHeartRadio and KFAN The Fan. Guaranteed human.
Alrighty. What these talkbackers got up their tattered sleeves.
It's a Talker Tuesday and a Wednesday presented by Minnetonka's unbelievable barbecue shop, Northern Fire Grilling and Barbecue Supply, Talkback Machine, free iHeartRadio app, and one of you will win a $25 gift card to Northern Fire Grilling and Barbecue Supply. Let's start here.
Morning, gentlemen. Todd from St. Louis Park here.
Hi, Todd.
It was 56 degrees this morning when I woke up, and gosh dang, am I pumped for football season. I am stoked to see the boys up front and on the D-line and the violence that they come with. I want to see absolute disruption and chaos in that New York Giants game, baby. Skol!
Well, you might need to pump the brakes.
PA? Well, I'll probably go without saying, but I'm going to say it anyway. I don't like you.
Don't pump the brakes. Be as excited as you want. Now, when it comes to the rough and tumble nature of high-end violence in a first preseason game,
Oh, my God.
I mean, they'll be going full throttle. And, you know, we don't have intel on this, but I'm sure we'll get it closer to the game. I would fully expect Kyler Murray and J.J. McCarthy both to play in that game. Now, when you say play extensively can be subjective.
Yeah.
But I do believe there will be some extensive play for both of them in that game. And then you come home for August 22nd against the Baltimore Ravens. So no matter if there are announcements up to the Giants game about that's the one, you can stop speculating. Then you play a game, and then you got joint practices. This is some foreshadowing of controversial talkers du jour up to the Ravens game. Like, why do you need to play any of your best players in that preseason game at US Bank Stadium when you just had 2 days of joint practices? And we got people telling us here, there, and everywhere the joint practices are more imperative to getting teams ready for the regular season than the preseason games. However, I would say au contraire. We're in the hope-selling business, boys and girls, and you have one home preseason game with Roachie at quarterback, number 1, Kyler Murray. If they introduce the offense or if they introduce the defense, at safety, number 44, Yashua Matelis, or whomever. 95, Caleb Banks. The home crowd paying hard-earned money in the squeeze to go to a preseason game to see Kyler and JJ and Caleb.
Oh, yeah.
That's going to be real super-duper special up to that game, trying to figure out who plays and why. I'm pulling my preseason tickets.
Well, the cool thing about that, too, is, with the Ravens in town, you're going to get to see third-round rookie Jacoby Lane. Or, it was fodder here around the draft. You're going to get to see safety Kyle. It's Keandre Jackson.
Yeah.
That'll be maybe playing in that singular home preseason game at U.S. Bank Stadium with Roche.
Yeah, we don't. We don't. Well, you're paying money to go to the game. It's a preseason game, and it's like a month away from the regular season. So the last thing you want, see Philadelphia. Jonathan Grenard.
Yeah.
Packed. See Chicago. Kobe Bryant name.
Yeah.
See Green Bay. DB Carrington Valentine.
You see that Jalon Walker in Atlanta just ripped his ACL?
Who's that?
Jalen Walker, defensive
pass
lineman
rusher
from a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm. Oh, ACL?
ACL, yeah.
ACL. See Buffalo and Dalton Kincaid. The last thing you want is the old injury bug to bite you in a game that doesn't count. However, on the other side of it, there are going to be people there paying hard-earned cash in the squeeze to hear number one, Kyler Murray. They're going to want to see Kyler. That's where you talk about casting gaze. We haven't even played the first we haven't even made an announcement on the starting quarterback yet. We're a week and change away from MetLife Stadium. 9 to noon's all wrapped up on who's going to play August 22nd. So we digress and go back to the talkback.
Well, how does that, real quickly though, how does that balance kind of what we've talked about, where maybe there's an intention to be a bit more physical, maybe in general throughout camp? Mm-hmm. So I can't remember whether you talked about it with Teasley or it was prior. I'm sorry, but kind of the idea of the balancing where maybe this guy like Darisaw doesn't participate in practice yesterday. He doesn't participate. It's not because he's hurt, but balancing workload of certain individuals combined with, hey, this practice is going to be up-tempo. It's going to be intense. It's going to be an absolute grind. And then maybe the next day it's, well, we're going to take a little bit lighter approach, just kind of getting a more physical element into training camp, but still balancing the reps and keeping dudes healthy.
Dave Mizutani, who covers the team for the Pioneer Press, TwinCitiesLive.com. He'll be here about 45 minutes from now. Wonderful, wonderful question for him. Now, I did just receive a text from somebody who was at practice yesterday, watching it like you. And said individual asks me, did Nordo, the con, see Golday light up Hawkinson on 7-on-7? Golday gets some serious time from Flo. The con! Golday splashing yesterday, somebody tells me.
Again, that's where this is August 5th.
There's so many things going on at once, and you got two kids who can't pay attention in the first place. Why? Because they're kids, so you got to deal with that. And we got Golday lighting up Hawkinson under the cover of darkness.
I'm trying not to get too excited on August 5th.
About the rookies.
But I am incredibly ecstatic with what I have seen from Caleb Banks, what I have seen from the Stephen F. Austin kid, and what I am seeing from Jake Golday. Mm-hmm. Jake Golday.
Well, Deming's right.
Yeah, Deming's. Yeah, it's just, and KO's spoken to this a bit as well, and this is Flo, this is the defensive staff that deserves a lion's share of credit. You know what? A lot of credit goes to the freaking rookie, too. Where Golday rolls in here, it's like, okay, second-round pick. You know, if I grow my hair out, we're doing, well, he looks a lot more like an Andrew Van Ginkel than he does a Dallas Turner. He might look a lot more like a Joey Bosa than he would a Von Miller. Mm-hmm. Making, early comparisons about what guys can do. They've put Golday all over the freaking place.
That's what they do.
And the athleticism speaks to it, but just kind of a fundamental, you can tell that work was done over the course of summer. 5 weeks. Idle hands, the whole thing leading up to camp. Golday was in the playbook. That much is very evident. And so whatever that conversation looked like, hey, Jake, welcome to the team. Frankly, I can't even tell you exactly where I want to put you at this particular point, but I can tell you the land of opportunity for the second-round Bearcat is there. You got to go get it. I think Golday's getting after it right now. He's had an awesome camp.
With this rookie with this long rookie, spindly, he's tall, he's fast, and he hits you very hard. Jake Golday, I don't know. I mean, now the pads have gone on. Perhaps all that's glittering is Golday.
Talk back.
Hey, PA. Question here is hypothetically for next year. Say Murray beats out McCarthy for this year, and he has a good year. So that means that because of what happened to Sam Darnold, last year, we have to sign Murray to a huge contract, I'm assuming. So my question is, what do we lose? Who do we lose? That's my question. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
I actually have the answer. I think they would let Murray walk. Can't say what they would do with J.J. McCarthy, but they'd probably trade 10 draft picks for quarterback du jour to go in the top 3.
PA? Well, it probably goes without saying, but I'm going to say it anyway. I don't like you.
I have no idea.
Yeah, that's...
I mean, it's yes, I believe Kyler Murray is favored to win the starting quarterback job. No, as I said yesterday, I don't believe we're going to have any foolish 11th hour terrorism where we got to wait past the Denver Broncos game about state fairs taking place and everything. Now all of a sudden we got starting quarterback on a stick.
Yeah,
I don't look at it that way either. So it's an impossible question to answer, but we greatly appreciate the question. Because I'm sure it's something about which we will be thinking at some point of the equation. As of right now, we just want to know who the starter is.
Yeah.
We just want to play the preseason games. We just want to start 1-0 against the Green Bay Packers. And we just want to watch somebody run like the wind. Perhaps that's Kyler, the creator.
Talkbacks, a Talker Tuesday and a Wednesday.
Morning, gentlemen. Nick from Oak Grove. We're 39 days away from the Vikings season opener, and I'd like to prognosticate about what we're going to hear that day.
Fortune teller.
Jordan Love takes the snap. He drops back. Caleb Banks breaks through, and down goes Jordan Love. Caleb Banks just foreclosed on Jordan Love. Have a great one, guys.
In your face, Milwaukee.
Hey!
In your face, Milwaukee!
Caleb Banks.
Check your watch and tell me what time it is.
9:36.
Now peek your head out and tell me what the climate is.
It's beautiful. Humidity tried to sneak back last night, but Mother Nature said, niet.
Caleb Banks with the foreclosure. A little play on words there. To the talkback machine.
Hey guys, wondering your thoughts on the punter battle, or if there is one at all. Thought it was pretty cool when we signed Johnny Hecker, but know that Brett has, or was a very good punter in college. So wondering what your thoughts are on that. And with that, is
quietest talkback ever,
or can he be a good holder, or have you seen anything in practice? Thanks. Have a good one.
You're my kind of talkback individual.
Hi, Rube.
And here's why. You don't take the low-hanging fruit. And by the way, the punter matters. Even though you hope to not use the punter a lot, the previous punter, the plus-size punter, is now booming it down Bayou way. This Thorson, this I believe he's Australian. This Thorson, he's just another in a long line of Darren Bennett's, where when I watch him kick, they're all different. It's amazing how they're able to do things like this. I mean, you might have the mortar ball straight down the field, hard spiral. That's the kind that Wishnowski kicked to Marcus Sherrills, and he couldn't hold on to it. And that's main man Marcus in the playoff game. Then you get the floaters that spin left to right. So punter battle. I do believe that they have two punters that they are deeply analyzing. I do not believe either of them are cinches to be the starting punter for the Minnesota Vikings, the first punter. And the holding part of the equation is very important because Ryan and Will were really, really good together. And Will Reichard's become one of the, if not the very best kickers in the NFL. So the holding portion of the equation matters, but I do not believe either of them should be labeled a cinch to be your first punter for the Minnesota Vikings. Excellent. That's an excellent observation by whomever left that talkback.
Talkback machine.
I'm going to make a statement about Kyler Murray.
Here we go.
Anything less than 2 playoff wins, and he's gone, and they won't re-sign him. He has that clause in his contract where we can't franchise tag him anyways. Anything less than 2 playoff wins, and he's gone, and J.J. McCarthy's team.
Ooh, how about that proclamation?
Okay.
A lot of prognosticating early on.
Yeah, let's we'll keep that prognostication in mind. And I mean, the team hasn't won a playoff game since 2019.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say, well, let's just win one playoff game and then all of a sudden it's celebration central. They're set up, if they stay healthy in the right spots, to do some under the radar damage.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to go ahead and let this whole thing play out because, like, it's with yours truly and a super hot quarterback conversation into 2024. There were some people, when I would talk about Sam Darnold, they'd be like, "Stop him! Stop him! Stop him!" And I was like, "No, no. I'm sorry. We're not throwing to Robbie Anderson. We're not asking Tommy Tremble or Ian Thomas to run double moves." And the head coach here is not like the guy in Carolina who held up the big poster with Daniel Caesar up here and Wiz Khalifa over there and Adrian's Barboza over there and Ronald McDonald in the bottom right.
What a grouping that is.
And that's how you got the play. No, we ain't that either. Just like with Kyler, he ain't going play action to D Mercado getting Christian Kirk to run a double move. We ain't that either. So with Darnold, after that Lions playoff game where, I mean, he had so much to do with them losing that game and not being the 1 seed. I mean, Darnold absolutely came back to the pack in that game. I think everybody can recognize it. Next game, he gets sacked 9 times. Yeah, he should have been better, but a lot of people on the team should have been better too. Then it's over. So I'm like, $100 million. Damn, man.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, for what it's worth, and whether you agree or not, it's an opinion. Yeah, they should have re-signed. They should have done whatever they could to keep Sam Darnold. Okay, and they didn't. And I understand the financial wherewithal and fortifying the village and you know, getting out of cap hell, so to speak. So I understand that. But then you go watch Sam play, and Sam had problems with Seattle middle of the season like he did here. And he pushed through them like he did here. Big difference. He's throwing touchdown passes in the Super Bowl. The belief in Sam Darnold continued, got himself into a good situation, won a Super Bowl. So I'm going to need to see more, evaluate more, take a little bit of a step back at the end of the season, not be as emotional as I was a couple of years ago, and see what the plan is with old Kyler Murray, J.J. McCarthy, Carson Wentz, and Maxwell Brozer.
Yeah, we can't be too future focused in terms of prognosticating or telling exactly how things will play out, right? We need to have, first of all, we just need to have a guy picked and then have a guy get all the reps and then go to work with that. I will say, you know, I appreciate the sentiment of some of those talkbacks and texts that I've gotten where it is, you know, if he has a good year, what does that mean? Because you would also think as a head coach, Kevin O'Connell probably at some point just wants a dude that he can work with every year. I mean, I think about that from the coach's perspective, the way that this conversation is external and it's frustrating us as Vikings fans to get that right answer. And this is not our first rodeo with the quarterback conversation and finding the right answer. How just absolutely mind-bogglingly, just infuriating. How about that? Let's use words that work. How infuriating it must be from a head coach's standpoint, who runs this offense and schemes. Just go to work with the same guy 2 years in a row, and he had 1.5 with Cousins before this thing started getting wonky. And so, you know, I'm just curious, without projecting into the future, that head coach probably would like to find that answer, a long-term one, at the QB spot as well.
2-a-days next, 9 to noon. Good morning.
This is 9 to noon on The Fan. iHeartRadio Music Festival.
9:50. Dolphins, Vikes, and former receiver for the Miami Dolphins, Jimmy Cefalo. He joins about 13 minutes from now as part of two-a-days, where we hit Green Bay and Chicago, and today at Tampa Bay and Miami, here for the Minnesota Vikings. Two-a-days, 9 to noon. We begin with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Buccaneers got close but no cigar last year. Blew a big lead in the NFC South, got run down by the Carolina Panthers. Baker Mayfield has shut down all contract situations, and here we are with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Game number 3 is at Tampa Bay.
To the Bucs, and you specifically mentioned it, Baker on his contract. He set a deadline. They didn't meet the deadline, so it's all football, right? But listen to, this is about a minute 45-ish, but listen to his answer at training camp in relation to it. It feels like it's more than just on to the football part of the equation.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I've told you guys I've been pretty upfront and honest about my feelings about Tampa, it being home for now our family. We're raising kids here. We love it here. I wanted the deal done and set the deadline and told them it was going to be all ball after that, and I did mean that. And I don't know if they thought I was just going to take some of the offers that they gave, but I'm at the point of my career and understanding what I've brought to this franchise. One, I'm very, very thankful for the chance they gave me. Do not get me wrong on that. But I've also I really know what I've brought to this franchise, leadership-wise, and even play-wise. It's been some of the best years of my career, and I think it's only going to trend upwards, just being comfortable and feeling that. So disappointing in that regard to not have, to feel disrespected a little bit. And that's really the disappointing part, to feel undervalued after, thinking you've earned it. This is not a poor me thing. There's a lot of other people that have it way worse off, but I can sit here and look at other quarterbacks and peers and evaluate myself based on that and put myself in certain categories that I deserve to be compensated for that. And I think I'm a franchise quarterback. I've been told I'm a franchise quarterback. It's been said publicly from ownership down here. And so to not have a deal done is very disappointing. But I said the deadline was a deadline, and I addressed the team to let them know I meant that. It's all ball. I'm with these guys. I think all the guys that have been here know exactly who I am. The guys that are new here, I wanted to address that because they might have had a notion prior to coming here about who I am as a person, but it's all team. It's all about winning here now and what we're going to do. And, hopefully Vita gets his back fixed and gets his deal done. I mean, he's the second longest tenured Buck behind CG, and Vita deserves that. He's the anchor of our defense, and so I hope they take care of him.
Damn, that was a good cut. Nice find for two-a-days. Baker, straightforward. He did lay out a deadline. Do players have what do you think of a player when they lay out a deadline for somebody who's paying them? I got no problem with it. What I do have a problem with is if I'm running the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, not knowing what Baker Mayfield is looking for, but I have to believe it's gargantuan. I don't want you running into defensive players anymore and constantly having a knee or an ankle or a hip or a sternum or a neck or a shoulder or an arm, because it's now Baker's tough. So Baker plays through a lot of stuff, but how much does that compromise what Baker Mayfield can do? So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers got themselves a little bit of a distraction right now with Baker Mayfield and Vita Vea, who was a hold in, and then and I think there's a knee situation with Vea, as Baker just said. Mike Evans has gone to the San Francisco 49ers. Their offensive line, I like Wirfs a lot, but the rest of it I think is good, not great. But the Buccaneers playing in that division, they could be formidable. They absolutely can win the division, but I don't think they're going to even be as good as they were last year.
I think they're still. I believe they were favored to win the South coming into camp. So
probably
kind of the idea, the health wise, and getting to know the next clip I'm going to play is in regard to Zach Robinson, the new OC, and he's going to talk about the running backs. But we keep talking about distraction factors, PA, and the stuff that kind of. The way that this stuff can linger.
Yep.
And I'm outside of the locker room, so I'm just a rube. And I hear the way that the Bucs are talked about, you dig into it and read it, and everyone's lauding Baker. He's from a statistical standpoint, whether it's passing TDs, it's passing yards, Baker is among the tops in those categories over his time in Tampa.
Yeah.
And so that does deserve respect. It does deserve accolades, and a guy, he has the right to go out and put a market number on himself and try to achieve that from a financial standpoint. But I just wonder how it sits there as the way that he's speaking about, he's talking about disappointment, he's talking about slights, the distraction factor for him personally and how that weighs in. Now, Baker Mayfield, I want to talk about chip on shoulder type of stuff. He's been using that and thriving with it since his college days.
Right.
So maybe the distraction factor here is more fodder for those of us on the outs than it is for him. But just the way that he was speaking about that, an O-line that needs to be better, and some things that have to happen around him. Did you know George Edwards is there now? Did you know that? Yeah, he's the
defensive assistant.
Yeah, I mean, he's. It feels like, given Todd Bowles being kind of the leader defensively,
yeah,
it's got a little bit of George Edwards under Mike Zimmer feel probably to it. Where
I'm pretty sure George and Todd, they might have been together in Dallas. Like Zimmer knows Bowles real well, and George has been everywhere Zimmer's been. So that could be that could be a little.
Yeah, let's see where that connection is. He was in Dallas from 98 to 01. Let me see here. George Edwards. Yeah, they may have overlapped,
yeah,
but
they might have.
But regardless, George Edwards, hey, blast from the past, that just kind of in bird seeing shiny thing on the ground like fashion that kind of interested me. Zach Robinson, new OC with this group, and he doesn't get to work with Mike Evans anymore. He does have Ibuka. He has Chris Godwin, CG, longest tenured Buck.
Ooh, that Ohio State kid in his second year, though. Look out indeed. And but he's excited about the running backs and specifically loves Bucky.
You didn't have a chance to work with Bucky much in a team type setting. Now that he's out there, what have you noticed about him and just the fit that he's going to have with Kenny and what you're trying to do?
Yeah, Bucky is a stud. I mean, watching him in 24, explosive play waiting to happen. Obviously, you guys saw it up close every single game, but he's just got such a great attitude, great spirit about him. Team guy, always has a smile on his face, so just the person has been just cool to get to know him. Still getting to know a lot of these guys. You only have so much time in the spring, but kind of, feeling the personalities of guys now. Bucky's been great, and obviously the talent speaks for himself. The way that he runs the football, and just his feet are always in the ground, so he's always able to change direction, and obviously that keeps him so balanced to break tackles, and the versatility he has in the pass game, run game. He's done a great job. It's been a blast seeing him just kind of cut some of these runs, and you start seeing it. So the compliment between really him and, you mentioned Kenny, he's done a great job since the spring. Obviously got the bulk of the reps there and got a good feel for it. And then Tuck's obviously made a lot of plays, and Josh Williams has had a great camp as well. So we have some backs that are exciting, that have a versatile skill set, and we'll just kind of keep taking it where it goes. But those guys, it's a great group of guys, man. But Bucky, he gives me a smile every time I look at him. He's a stud.
So B-Flow is going to have he's going to have his work cut out for him potentially with Bucky, and maybe if Wirfs and Mock and everybody on the O-line, Bredesen, they're all feeling healthy. So good times USA for the Bucs offense.
Yeah.
And Bucky, who was sparingly used last year. I think he only played in like 8, 9, 10 games, and he was averaging 3 and a piece per carry. Just the explosion wasn't there, so injuries kind of nicking him up. But on this defensive side, so if you're down in Tampa, or I don't know where they have their camp, but if you're down in camp right now and you're a Bucs fan, and the way I was talking about kids showing up, kids and the opportunity of awaiting them, they're expected to start both Ruben Bain, rookie, Miami, Kane, and Josiah Trotter, rookie out of, I think he went to Missouri, inside guy potentially. So Bowles' defense, George Edwards' group, they are potentially relying on kids to make splashes earlier in their careers as well, much like the Minnesota Vikings.
And they also added former Lion tackling machine, Alex Anzalone. So he's running around training camp, and some people are looking at highlights and stuff like that, and they're like, when did we sign Andrew Van Ginkel?
I always love that one.
Well, you didn't get the gink. The gink is on fire. You got Anzalone, who's heading into his 10th year out of Florida, and he's going to fortify a linebacker situation that I don't think Levante David's around anymore. I could be wrong about that, but speaking of tackling machines, Buccaneers schedule, take a peek at that. Ain't the easiest thing in the world. They hook the NFC North this year, and those would be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers from a two-a-day standpoint. The second road game of the year for the Minnesota Vikings is at Tampa Bay after they play at Chicago. And then they come home to take on the Miami Dolphins. That is facet number 2 of today's two-a-days. Fourth game on the schedule, the Miami Dolphins here at US Bank Stadium. Jimmy Cefalo is into his 22nd year as Vikes for the Miami Dolphins. Also was a 7-year receiver for the Fins, catching passes from Hall of Famer Bob Greasy at the end of his career, and from HOF Dan Marino as he started his career. Jimmy Cefalo played in a couple of Super Bowl games, too, and he even did this.
Franklin and Nathan remain the backs, and Bruce Hardy is a single tight end. 2nd and 6, Miami from their 24-yard line. Backs and an eye. Woodley awaits the snap, brings Hardy in motion back to the near side. Play fakes, looks upfield. He fires to the sideline. 50, looks to the middle, 45, 30, 25, 15, 10, 5, touchdown, Dolphins. Jimmy Cefalo beat the socks off the quarterback down the near side. Mark Murphy is the only guy who had a shot at him. And Cefalo showed his world-class speed, got away from the pressure after he caught the ball at about the 50, cut to the middle of the field, outran the Washington secondary, 76 yards.
Joining us now is Jimmy Cefalo. Jimmy, it's Paul Allen. How are you?
Good, Paul. Thanks for having me. Good to talk to you.
Likewise. When's the last time you saw or heard your touchdown reception against Washington in the Super Bowl? We were excited to find it, man.
Oh, it's been a long time. I for some reason, there's something called Woodstock, which is a combination of our two quarterbacks, Don Strock and David Woodley, during that period of time. And I keep getting these videos from something called Woodstock. And so I think it was a couple of weeks ago that one popped up.
Now, Jimmy, granted, in those two Super Bowls with Miami, you didn't win, but what was it like playing in those Super Bowls? And by the way, thanks for helping the show. What's it like playing in the Super Bowl?
It was pretty extraordinary. I mean, I was a kid from a small town in northeastern Pennsylvania, and to be able to play in a Super Bowl and to score a touchdown, play with Dan Marino and Bob Greasy and some other great players. Just, I was the most fortunate young kid as you can imagine, and the most unlikely guy to get to that point.
That's fantastic. Now, we mentioned earlier, Jimmy has done play-by-play for the Miami Dolphins for 22 years. Sadly, has not called a Dolphins playoff win during said career. I just got to get it out of the way. We have won a playoff game here since 2019. Vikings, no Super Bowl wins, period. But does the playoff winning drought rile up the fan base in South Florida, or is it too much of a transient state for that?
Oh no, it's very. We got a great fan base, and they're fired up every time somebody mentions we haven't won a playoff game since the early 2000s. Look, it's Harvey Green, who was a very famous PR guy in sports generally. With the Yankees and the Miami Dolphins for many years, now retired.
Mm-hmm.
Said to me, Jimmy, it's your fault. You're the reason we haven't won a playoff game in all these years. I've called 3 playoff games, period.
Oh, geez.
In 21 seasons, and we've won none.
Wow.
So maybe Harvey's right.
Harvey Green.
Down memory lane we go.
Being in the NFC North, we don't get to Hard Rock. We don't get to the Orange Bowl. We don't get down there frequently, but I'll never forget early in my career when I first met Harvey Green. And the Vikings were playing at Miami, and I was relatively new to the equation, introduced himself to me, and he gave me a pen. He used to give everybody in the press box these sweet Dolphin pens. And as a media relations director, as a communications director, whatever, Harvey Green is football immortality. What a kind man.
Oh, he is. Baseball immortality, too. He was fired by George Steinbrenner several times.
Wow.
George would fire him, and he'd go home, and George would call him the next morning and say, Harvey, where are you? And he'd say, I'm packing. I'm packing my apartment. He'd say, why? He said, because you fired me. He said, get your ass back in here. He'd tell him. And he would do that over and over again to Harvey.
Wow. Yeah, Harvey Green, man. What a memory. What a memory. Thank you for that. Now, Jimmy has called Dolphins games at with Minnesota, playing the Vikings at Metrodome and U.S. Bank Stadium, and caught a TD against the Vikings September of 1979 at Met Stadium. What if anything do you remember about playing in Metropolitan Stadium in Bloomington?
Oh, that's easy. Both teams were on the same sideline, which is the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life. I mean, because it was a baseball stadium, obviously, and the way they had positioned it, the fans were like at the end of the outfield, and we were on the infield. So we stood on the same side, so we wouldn't block the fans' view. But you look to your right, and there's Ahmad Rashad, and they come on, what the hell are you doing over there? And the other weird thing is that if the Vikings scored a touchdown, it would be dead silent, and it would be beat, 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 and then you hear the cheer because it took that long for the sound to get to you. It was a strange place to play.
Man, I'm so glad we called you.
Down memory lane we go.
Those are fantastic stories. Now Vikings and Dolphins here, U.S. Bank Stadium. That's week number 4 as part of two-a-days. For the Dolphins, new coach Jeff Hafley, super well respected around the league. I haven't met him personally. Vikings coach Kevin O'Connell, they're very close. I mean, when Hafley was with Green Bay out of Boston College, O'Connell and others were just very, very braggadocious about him. And he's just super well respected. Got a head coaching job in the NFL early in the equation. How's it going?
Yeah.
How's it going with Jeff so far?
I think he's doing really well. He's changed the entire culture already. Mike McDaniel is a guy who's a good X and O's guy, but he's not much of a leader when it comes to that. And as you know, being around the league for so long, in the NFL, if you're going to be an NFL coach, you better be a leader. X's and O's, you got coordinators for that stuff. But to be the head coach, you got to be a leader of men, and Hafley obviously is. I'm not sure McDaniel was.
What, Jimmy? From what you've seen so far, what do you think about quarterback Malik Willis?
I'm sorry, say again.
Malik Willis, the quarterback. What do you think?
He's really had a very good camp. I think Willis is going to be the right guy. And remember, Hafley and the general manager, John Eric Sullivan, now for the Dolphins, both came from the Packers. So they got a chance to see him every day in practice for a couple of years. They've known Malik Willis for a long time. And that's the reason why they took the flyer on him. And as far as the NFL quarterbacks are concerned, sadly, these days, I think he's got a 3-year, $67 million contract. I don't just guarantee. I think about that and I laugh. Never, ever did I think the league would get to this place in time. But now you've got, NFL quarterbacks making $60 million, between 50 and 60.
What with the Dolphins, Jimmy? What do you think will be good with your squad this year that not enough people are talking about?
The offensive line has really, I think, improved greatly. Whoa. You've got Devon Achane, who's one of the top backs in the league. He last year he had almost 1,700 yards from scrimmage, and an offensive line that was banged up and beat up, and it's been the problem spot for this team for many years. Well, the Dolphins and John Eric Sullivan and Hafley went and drafted Caden Proctor, a mountain of a man, who's a left tackle at Alabama, first-team All-American, very fleet of foot. I mean, this guy played the shotgun quarterback spot at Alabama periodically. He'd play wide receiver. They'd throw him a flanker screen. He really got amazing feet. He's 350 pounds. But he's going to play left guard. The left tackle is Patrick Paul, who is an up-and-coming, really, really good left tackle in this league. And Aaron Brewer is the center, and Brewer was an All-Pro last year. So that's the beginning of a very good team. Last year they drafted a guy named Jonas Abayanaya at a guard spot, and they moved him to the left side. Well, he's a right guard, and your feet are completely different, and so he didn't have the greatest of years. But he's back to right guard, And then Austin Jackson is the right tackle, first-round pick out of USC, who's been banged up all of last year. So you've got a really strong offensive line, and with Achane, I think they're just going to try to bowl over. They also drafted, and I like the way they drafted this year. They had 13 picks. A guy named Kekmaric, who was a blocking tight end out of Ohio State, and they call his blocking skills elite. So when you put that all together, a young quarterback, a problem spots at wide receivers. They don't have any really veterans over there, and they have young guys, small guys for the most part. They drafted bigger wide receivers, but don't know if they'll be ready as rookies. So you're going to run the football a whole bunch. And with a 350-pound left guard and a mountain of a man at left tackle and an all-pro center, that's where the ball is going.
I'm digging that, my man. This is Jimmy Cefalo, play-by-play voice for the Miami Dolphins.
Vikes.
Also played nearly a decade for the Dolphins. Caught a touchdown pass in the Super Bowl. Jimmy Cefalo, that's fantastic. What from what you remember or know, Jimmy, what the Minnesota Vikings, what did they get in former Miami offensive coordinator and current Minnesota assistant head coach Frank Smith?
Well, Frank Smith really didn't. Mike McDaniel was the head coach, but he needed someone to implement the game plan and all those things. So McDaniel really was the coordinator,
right?
But Smith, he very well respected, and I think he'll do great in Minnesota, especially with the head coach who's similar in that regard of a quarterback kind of whisperer kind of a thing. So I think they're going to be fine with him. But McDaniel was the guy who was. McDaniel would sit on the bench during the game when the defense was on the field, drawing up plays. I don't know about you, but I want my head coach on the field because he might have to make a call whether he wants to drop the red flag to challenge something or make a tough decision on fourth and whatever it is. He would sit on the bench, and we'd sit there and go, "Wait a minute, you got to go over there." And it was bizarre in a lot of ways.
And Jimmy, a couple of quickies to close here. Thanks for the time, man. This is fantastic. We up here we love Andrew Van Ginkel. Any surprise when Miami let him leave a couple of years ago?
Shocking. I think that was one of the biggest mistakes.
Wow.
That the general manager, a guy named Greer, good guy, but I think that was one of his biggest mistakes. Van Ginkel was not a high draft pick. He played extraordinarily well, outplayed his contract by far, could do a little bit of everything, could, run to the ball, play defense against the pass, good against the run. He was special. And when he left, I thought it really hit the Dolphin defense in a big way.
Hey, Jimmy, what's most popular in South Florida and why? The Dolphins, Hurricanes football, the Heat, or the Florida Panthers?
It's still the Dolphins. This is a football town, so you have to go Dolphins, Canes, and then I don't know where you go Heat after that.
Right.
That would be the order, the pecking order. The Panthers, even though they won back-to-back championships, it's still not exactly a hockey town,
right?
And but it's a football town, and so the Dolphins sell out every game still, even though they haven't won in all those years. They just made a change that I think is going to impact them greatly with their CEO. A guy named Tom Garfinkel is regarded as maybe the best business mind in the NFL. He was here for 13 years. He brought Formula One to the stadium, put a track in. He brought the Miami Open tennis, so-called fifth major, to the stadium. He's done great things, and he decided that he's got his hands full with a lot of things, that he's going to step away. So Stephen Ross, the owner, put someone else in the position. But Tom Garfinkel is going to be greatly missed. He didn't have anything to do with the day-to-day football operations, but as far as the business side of things, Tom sold every ticket to every game.
Wow, that's excellent intel. Lastly, you think the Dolphins are poised to win a playoff game, or is it still a work in progress with all that?
Oh, it's a work in progress.
Right.
They have $179 million in dead cap money.
Oh.
So,
yeah.
The cap is just a little over $300 million.
Yep.
So they're playing with half a roster, less than half a roster. That means when the final cutdown comes, the Dolphins will pick up a lot of players from a lot of teams because they're young. They had to take guys off the street, players just looking for another spot, another opportunity. But they're doing it the right way. I think John Eric Sullivan's done a good job with the draft. I think Halfley's the right guy at the coaching spot. So this could be a good football team. So give us 3 years. I think we'll be fine.
Jimmy, that was fantastic, man. Great having you on the radio show. I'll say hello at U.S. Bank Stadium. Wonderful career playing for the Dolphins. Great job with the play-by-play. Thanks a lot for doing this, all right?
Thanks, Paul. Great talking to you.
Yep, likewise. See you, bud. Jimmy Cefalo, man. He's got some Captain Cool to him, old Jimmy Cefalo. 10:15, Dane Mizutani, Pioneer Press, TwinCitiesLive.com. He gives us his thoughts on Minnesota Vikings training camp, etc., when 9 to noon continues. But first,
The Fan and BigDeck.com want to give you a shot at some bonus bucks with the National Cash Contest. This hour's keyword is bank. Use the keyword bank and enter it in now at KFAN.com. Good luck.
This is PA on iHeart.